What is going on? Welcome to the RoyalsCenter podcast. I hope you guys are having a good morning, a great afternoon, an amazing evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you. Thank you for taking the time to drop in and give us a listen. It has been a little while. Part of the reason why it's been a little while is I've just been busy. Have had things going on. I also had microphone issues, so I had to get a new mic. Um, but the plus to that is I did not miss out on much. There has not been much in the entirety of baseball for another week. In this case, another almost 2 weeks. But we're going to go ahead and cover what has happened in the past 2 weeks. So, like usual, let's go ahead and start out the podcast by covering the major league news that has happened over the past couple weeks. To start out the week, the Cardinals signed designated hitter Matt Carpenter to a 1 year contract. The details weren't announced, but he is headed home. I'm assuming that this is probably going to be his final year and he wants to end it where he started it. Next up, the Astros signed left-handed pitcher Josh Hader to a 5 year, $95 million contract. That is absolutely huge for a closer. Next up, the Pirates signed left-handed pitcher Aroldis Chapman to a 1 year, $10.5 million contract, and he is coming off a really good season. Shocked that he signed with the Pirates. I kind of was not expecting that. But he, like I said, he's coming off a great season. He really turned it around. I don't know if the Royals fixed it or if the change of scenery fixed him. But he's coming off a season where he posted a 3.09 ERA across 58 and a third innings pitched, striking out 103 batters. Next up, the Dodgers signed left-handed pitcher James Paxton to a 1 year contract. And it wouldn't be the weekly news if the Dodgers hadn't signed anybody. I did not see contract details on this. I'm not sure if it was a deferred contract because it seems like the Dodgers are doing a lot of that. But James Paxton definitely isn't great, so I'm not sure why the Dodgers signed him, but I'm sure it's the Dodgers. They can fix him. Next up, the Nationals signed first base slash outfield Joey Gallo to a 1 year, $5 million contract. That comes with a $1 million incentive bonus as well. Next up, the Brewers signed first baseman Rhys Hoskins to a 2 year, $34 million contract. This deal does include an opt out after the first season. Next up, the defending champions, the Texas Rangers, signed right-handed pitcher David Robertson to a 1 year contract in the $11 to $12 million range. Next up, the defending National League champions, the Arizona Diamondbacks, signed outfield Jock Peterson to a 1 year contract with a mutual option for 2025. Next up, the Anaheim Angels signed outfield Aaron Hicks to a 1 year contract. He will earn the league minimum. And that is coming off a huge bounce back season. In 65 games with Baltimore, he slashed 275, 381, 425 with 7 home runs and 31 RBIs. Next up, the Mariners and the Twins made a trade. The Mariners traded right-handed pitcher Anthony DeSclafani, right-handed pitcher Justin Tapa, right-handed pitcher Darren Bowen, outfield Gabriel Gonzalez. In return, the Mariners are acquiring Jorge Polanco. Next up, the Blue Jays signed infield Justin Turner to a 1 year contract. Not sure on the cost of that, as that was just announced today. But he is coming off a very good season. He posted a slash line of 276, 345, 455 with 23 home runs and 96 RBIs. Lastly, it's probably the biggest thing that's happened this week, maybe one of the biggest things that's happened this offseason. It was the fact that the Baltimore Orioles owner, John Angelos, has agreed to sell the team to two private equity billionaires, David Rubenstein and Mike Argertui, for $1.725 billion. I may have absolutely butchered Mike's last name, but this kind of came at a shock to me. I was not expecting this. I had heard no rumors of this possibly happening, but that could just be because I don't follow the Orioles. But I think this is a huge deal. I think this very well could be a big deal for Baltimore as a whole. You could see a new era of baseball coming to Baltimore here soon, as it already has gotten better for Baltimore fans. At least something exciting is happening for the city of Baltimore as the Kansas City Chiefs just beat the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship of a final score 17-10. Lamar failed you. Lamar failed America, and we're here for it. But that is not the first time Kansas City has beat Baltimore to go on and face San Francisco in the championship, as the 2014 Kansas City Royals swept the Baltimore Orioles in the ALCS to go on and face the San Francisco Giants in the 2014 World Series. I won't talk too much smack because we all know the ending of that. With that being said, it is time to move on to Kansas City Royals news, rumors, and signings. So let's get started with that. We will first start with the only rumor of the week. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic reported that the Royals are looking to add another piece on for the bullpen to take that closing role. As of right now, Will Smith has that closing role locked in, but the Royals are going to see what they can do to pick up or acquire a closer. The idea is to have Will Smith as a setup man, but the options are very limited. Next up, it was announced that the Royals AA affiliate, the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, will host the Kansas City Royals for an exhibition game on Monday, March 25th at Arvest Ballpark. These games are always so exciting to keep track of slash watch, depending on if it's televised. But it's always interesting to watch because it just shows you how good and how talented your prospects are. If the Royals completely demolish them, that's always a good thing too, because that means that the Royals are way better. Um, it's kind of mixed emotions because you want it to be a close, good game. That kind of means that your prospects are better, but you also kind of hope that it's a lopsided game and the Royals just run away with it, meaning that their major league roster is 10 times better than their prospects, which is exactly what you would want and what you expect from your Major League Baseball team. Next up, we have the most exciting thing of the week, not just for Royals fans, but for fans of sports in general. Let's get into it. On January 17th, we found out that Amazon will make a minority investment in Diamond Sports. So, a lot of Royals fans and just sports fans in general were concerned on how that would affect them from watching their favorite sport team. Good news though, if you currently have a cable provider that has Bally Sports Kansas City, or if you pay for a Bally Sports subscription, you will not be affected by this. So essentially what this means is if you have a cable provider that does not provide Bally Sports Kansas City, or if you do not pay for Bally Sports Kansas City monthly, you can now watch the Kansas City Royals and several other sports teams on Amazon Prime, which overall that would actually be a little cheaper for you, and this is just a good thing overall. So if you had a Bally Sports subscription, you are paying $19.99 a month for that. So with Amazon Prime, you can get just the Prime membership. That does include, of course, free shipping on Amazon Prime and all that stuff. And you get the video as well. That costs you $14.99 a month. But if you want just Amazon Prime Video, you're looking at $8.99 a month. So why I say that is so awesome for not only Royals fans but sports fans in general is, say you go to Florida and you're from Kansas City and you're wanting to watch a Royals game. You can now watch that Royals game on Amazon Prime. As before with Valley Sports, they would use your location to dictate where you are, and you couldn't watch certain games if you were out of market. But now you can watch any game you want wherever you are because you have that Amazon Prime subscription. So, like I said, this isn't affecting just Royals fans. This is affecting all sports fans, and this is an awesome thing. That means anybody can watch their sports team from wherever they are, and that is just so exciting. It's definitely a new big chapter for sports in general. So I will say, me personally, I like to watch sports on actual cable itself. The reason being with that is because on cable, there's going to be a little bit of a delay, but it's going to be a 1 or 2 second delay. Nothing that's going to essentially spoil the game for you. As if when you're streaming it, you're looking at maybe a 15-second delay between real time and game time, and you're going to get those notifications that come across your screen saying that Bobby Witt Jr. hit the game-winning home run. So, key thing is if you are watching the Royals on any streaming platform, definitely make sure you turn those notifications off so you aren't spoiled by what happened. So everybody knows the feeling of seeing a huge moment come across your screen and you haven't seen it on TV yet. It's because you're streaming it. And that is always the most disappointing thing because yes, it's exciting, but you just missed it live. So that's why I suggest to turn those notifications off. All right, it is time to get in some signings and trades that happened over the week. It was announced earlier this week that the Royals signed catcher Sandy Leon to a minor league contract with an invite to spring training. This move was an odd move. I wasn't really sure what the point of this signing was. Of course, every single year we sign a veteran player with an invite to spring training. They end up making the major league roster. It's mainly for that veteran presence, but it's also because they aren't half bad. This one just came at a shock to me. Sandy Leon was not good. He had a 146 batting average with 6 hits, 4 RBIs, and 4 runs scored in 21 games in 2023, and it wasn't any better the year prior. Next up, the Kansas City Royals traded Samad Taylor to the Seattle Mariners. In return, we are going to receive a player to be announced later or some cash considerations. Samad Taylor wasn't the best player in 2023. Of course, he was just a rookie. In his rookie season, he had a 200 batting average with 12 hits, 4 RBIs, 11 runs scored, and 31 games. Again, he didn't have a huge sample size, but Samad, we wish you the best of luck in Seattle. It was bound to happen. The Royals were bound to get rid of one of their players, and Samad seemed to be the guy that they wanted to get rid of. There wasn't really any room for Samad on the Royals, unfortunately, but this is the reason why. The Royals announced that they signed infield Adam Frazier to a 1-year deal with a mutual option in 2025. So at the time of the signing, I wasn't sure on why the Royals did this. I still am not quite 100% sure on why this acquisition happened. Um, it seemed unnecessary. I didn't think we needed any more infielders. Our infield already seemed crowded as it was. But I think this is definitely one that I could like in the future. In 2023, Adam Frazier had just a 240 batting average with 99 hits, 13 home runs, 60 RBIs, 59 runs scored, in 141 games. But looking on it, I think I have an idea of why the signing happened, and a lot of fans are not going to like the reasoning. So, General Manager JJ mentioned that there was a huge possibility that a few names could be traded. One of those names that were brought up in the conversation was Michael Massey. Now, who they would trade Michael Massey for, I'm not 100% certain. Could be another arm for the bullpen. It could be another arm for the rotation to get rid of Jordan Lyles. Who knows? But I think it's going to happen soon. And again, comparing the two players right next to each other, I don't think this is an awful move. Michael Massey in 2023 had a 229 batting average with 98 hits, 15 home runs, 55 RBIs, 42 runs scored in 129 games. But again, this is just 100% speculation, but this is something that I could truly see happening. It's been mentioned before, it's been brought up before. Now, do I want it to happen? I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Massey yet to make that decision myself. But a lot of Royals fans really like him, and he definitely I could see him on the Royals in the future. But if there's other players that could fill that gap and make a better player out of that position, I'm all up for it. Whatever we can do to make this team better. That is going to wrap up some Royals news, rumors, and signings for the day. Let's go ahead and get into some other topics for you guys. So last week I started a mini little 3-part series where I was predicting how many home runs each Royal could hit. I did have to clarify this wasn't something where I was predicting that each Royal will hit this many home runs. It was more of a prediction of this Royal could hit this many home runs. I'm not meaning all these Royals will hit these amount of home runs. Really, 1 through 3 was the only ones where I was like, they are going to hit these home runs. But again, this was more of a they have a possibility that they could hit this home run. I will predict that they can hit this amount of home runs in 2024. All right, at number 10, I had Maikel Garcia with 15 home runs. In 2023, he had 123 games. He only hit 4 home runs. Looking at it now, that is definitely an overshot. But I definitely could see him maybe popping off and hitting maybe 10 home runs in 2023. Um, I don't know why I predicted 15 looking back on it. But at number 9, I had Freddie Fermin with 17 home runs. In 2023, he had 9 home runs in 70 games. He was definitely on pace to get at least 20 home runs. I could see him hitting around 17, maybe a little more, a little less. He doesn't have much power. He just happens to get a hold of some of them and just barely hit them out, which you can't go wrong with it. If you're hitting a home run, you're hitting a home run. That's all that matters. At number 8, I had Michael Massey with 19 home runs. In 2023, he had 15 home runs in 129 games. If he's completely healthy and can play a full season, he definitely has the ability to hit at least 20. 19 seems like a really good number. 4 more home runs than the previous year is doable. It may not be in a Royals uniform, but see him hitting 19 home runs in 2024. At number 7, I have Nick Pratto hitting 20 home runs. Last year in 2023, he had 7 home runs in 95 games. He has a lot of power. He's just not getting the right contact, I should say. In 95 games, though, 7 home runs isn't awful, but I think if he plays a full season at first base or even in right field or left field, he can play a little bit of everywhere anymore. I could see him popping off and hitting 20 home runs in 2024. At number 6, I had MJ Melendez hitting 24 home runs. Last year in 2023, he had 16 home runs in 148 games. And yes, that seems like a big jump between numbers. But the reason with that being said is in 2022, he had 18 home runs in 129 games. You don't hit 18 home runs once and then only decrease from there, especially in your third year. He definitely has the possibility to pop off, hit 24 home runs, maybe more. I could definitely see him hitting some more than that, but 24 seems like the right number. At number 5, I have Salvador Perez hitting 26 home runs. In 2023, he had 23 home runs in 140 games. I could definitely see him hitting 26. The reason being is he is going to be healthier. He's going to probably be playing more games at DH or even at first base. I think he's going to have maybe 1 or 2 more bigger home run seasons, but we are seeing decline of Salvador Perez, unfortunately. At number 4, I have Hunter Renfroe hitting 27 home runs. In 2023, he had 20 home runs in 140 games. I think he could definitely have a better season. He has had better seasons in the past, hoping that the change of scenery fixes it for him. That's kind of the prediction with this, is it's more of a hope than it is a definite prediction. He does have the power and the ability to hit 27, so I could see it happening. Let him do it. I will not tell him not to. At number 3, I have Bobby Witt Jr. hitting 34 home runs. In 2023, he had 30 home runs in 158 games. We are seeing the incline of Bobby Witt Jr. as a baseball player. He is only getting better. He's only getting more power, and I could see him popping off and actually hitting probably 36. Looking on it, I wish I would have done 36 for him, but 34 is a good number. I can't be wrong if he hits more than that. I'm perfectly fine with it. At number 2, I have Vinny Pasquantino hitting 37 home runs. In 2023, he had 9 home runs in 61 games. 37 seems like a lot, but I have a feeling with him. I feel like he has a lot of power. We know he has a lot of power. I think he can go out there and hit a lot of home runs. As long as he's healthy an entire season, we could definitely see 37 from him in 2024. At number 1, I have Nelson Velasquez hitting 42 home runs in 2024. In 2023, he had 14 home runs in 40 games. And I don't know why. I just have this feeling with him. I've had it for months and months, really since the season ended. I think Nelson's going to pop off in 2024 and go off with 42 home runs. He has a powerful bat, and it's just what we saw from him in the 40 games that he played with us last year. He can pop off, and we're going to see it happen. And I'm really excited for it. I am solidifying that. Clip it and at me if he doesn't get anywhere close to that. But that's my prediction. He is hitting 42 home runs in 2024. But let me know what you guys think about those predictions. How wrong am I? How correct am I? Is that going to happen? Is it possible? I mean, just let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your feedback on what you think the Royals can do in 2024. While we are on the topic of predictions, Fangraphs released their 2024 projections, and Bobby Witt Jr. was a notable Royals player on that list. They ranked Bobby Witt Jr. to be the 13th best player in baseball. They predicted him to have 30 home runs, 102 RBIs, 93 runs scored, 42 stolen bases, and an 830 OPS. And when we get into some other stats, they also projected him to have a 278 batting average, a 329 on base percentage, a 501 slugging percentage, a 352 WOBA, and a 4.8 WAR. I think for the most part, this seems pretty accurate. This seems about what we should expect from Bobby Witt Jr. I think we will see another at least 30-30 season from him. Again, I think he's going to hit a little more home runs. I think he's going to probably go for about 36, like I predicted. But for the most part, that stat line seems pretty great. Of course, I am just really excited to see a full season from Bobby Witt Jr. once again. He's on an incline. He's going to slowly get better and better and better, and he already had a huge jump from his rookie season to his sophomore season, and I can only imagine him getting way better than he is. We can't say it enough. We are in the midst of watching a superstar come about. With that being said, hashtag extend Bobby Witt Jr. That is going to wrap up episode 9 of the Royal Center podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed what we talked about today. If you guys did enjoy it, go ahead and let your fellow Royals fans know about the podcast. It's still currently being released on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. So I did try out 2 new things with this podcast. I got a new microphone. It's a swivel microphone. I'm still trying to figure out the distance of it, where I need to be to talk into it. So if throughout the podcast you hear me getting closer and further away, that's because I'm trying to figure it out. The second thing that I did try is a closed captioning podcast as well. They're auto-generated, so if there are any errors, it's because they're auto-generated. Let me know what you think about those 2 things. I think this microphone sounds a lot better overall. Again, it's just going to take time for me to get used to where I need to speak into the mic. In the closed captionings, I'm not sure if I like that or not. It's pretty cool that it's auto-generating them for you, so if you are hard of hearing, you can still essentially hear the podcast by reading it. I mean, for the most part, the errors that I saw weren't anything big. It was just misspelling, spelling names differently from how they're actually spelled. But if you guys don't like that, let me know. If you guys do like it, let me know. If there's anything that I can change to help make this podcast better, my DMs are always open and my comments are always open. So feel free to let me know. Again, thank you for dropping in and giving this a listen. Hope you guys enjoyed. You guys have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are at, however you're listening, whatever time it is for you. Have a good one and see you on the next podcast.
Audio Jungle.